Hello, we're going to start creating our Offspring anchor chart. So, first of all, the top left corner, you're going to write Offspring. Okay, and then you're going to write the teak out. It doesn't really matter what page number you are on, but Offspring should be at the title on the left side, and then you're going to write this teak out word for word. Compare the results of uniform or diverse offspring from sexual reproduction and asexual reproduction. And the teak number is 714B. Remember, those teaks tell us what we need to know on the test. Our unit test, our STAR test, whatnot. That's what we have to learn. So compare the results of uniform or diverse offspring from sexual reproduction and asexual reproduction. 714B. Okay, and then you should have gotten a handout that looks like this. If you're not here in class today, you can reproduce this in your notebook. So you could just write it out in your notebook. You don't need to have the copy. So if you're at home, you can do this without the copy. You're just going to make this chart in your notebook. Okay, so I'm going to go on and I'm going to fill it in as we're talking about the different parts of asexual versus sexual. So I'm going to start on the asexual side. And with this map, you can see that there's white out spots where we're going to be filling in. So when I start to fill in, I will write and then I'll move my hand. You can pause the video at any time to get those things down. Okay, so on asexual, notice that there is pluses and minuses. So the advantages and then disadvantages. So one thing that is beneficial about asexual is it only needs one parent. So only one parent is needed. So one parent. If we look down at the next column, it says offsprings identical to the parent, no variation. Remember, we are also been using the term uniform. So I'm going to actually turn mine and write uniform here. So I can remember that. Uniform, meaning they are exactly alike to their parent. Okay, the other plus side, or plus about asexual advantage, is a short generation can produce a large number of offspring and population grows quickly. So especially when we're talking about bacteria, remember, bacteria, if you sneeze on your desk and there's a germ there, then it can divide very quickly and make more and more germs. So by the end of the day, there could be lots and lots of germs on that desk. So that's one of the benefits of asexual reproduction, is that it's short generation and can produce a large number of offspring and population grows quickly. Okay, so there's no disadvantage over here. Next column, when we come down here, we have some blanks. So we're going to be filling in this first box for the advantages. It requires little energy. It requires little energy. Okay, so if you think about it, since it's only one parent, the parent doesn't have to find a mate. The bacteria, like we were talking about, can reproduce very quickly on your desk. It does not require a lot of energy. Okay, the next box that says no parental care. So this would be a disadvantage of it. There's no parents to take care of the offspring. So with that, we have a high death rate. Of offspring. So high death rate of the offspring. Okay, and the next box for the advantage of asexual, well adapted individual spread quickly. So you're going to write in spread quickly. So if the germ is well adapted to that environment, then it can spread very quickly, like on your desk. And then one of the disadvantages of it is poorly adapted individual die quickly. So if the germ is not very adapted to the environment, it will die very quickly. Okay, so now we're going to go to the side about sexual reproduction. Remember, the pluses are the advantages, the minuses are the disadvantages. So we're going to fill in whatever is missing. And the plus is it requires 2 parents. When we have that, then we have offsprings that are genetically diverse. So in that next box, we're going to put offspring. Are genetically diverse. So it says offspring are genetically diverse. Okay. Now, for the plus and the advantage and disadvantage, we kind of think of these as kind of both, as far as it's a long generation. So remember, asexual was short, but when it comes to sexual reproduction, long generation times, like humans, it takes them 10 months to have a baby. When we're talking about bigger animals like elephants, and they can be a lot longer, years to 2 years, etc. So long generation times, a small number of offspring and grows slowly. Okay, so if we think about a human, most people have 1 baby at a time. There are some people that have twins, but for the most part, when we think of humans, it's 1 at a time. Along with other bigger animals, if we think about, they're going to have 1 baby at a time. And it takes longer for that baby to mature and for the mom's body to get ready, okay, for the baby, which can be a positive and a negative because it does give you time to prepare. The advantages of sexual reproduction are parents care for the offspring and low death rate. So when we think about sexual reproduction, usually there's a parent that stays with the offspring to care for it until it's able to care for itself. The disadvantage of sexual reproduction is it requires lots of energy to find a mate. Okay, when we think about animals, and especially with the changes that are going on in their ecosystems and their environment, sometimes they cannot find a mate. So it requires a lot of energy and time. If they can't find a mate, then they can't reproduce and carry on the species. So that becomes a concern. If you look at the advantages of sexual reproduction, this box right here, we're going to be filling this one in. And we're going to put survival of individual and I'm going to put parentheses fit, survival of the fittest, right, for the environment. Remember when we talked about adaptation and changes that happen, we also talked about survival of the fittest. So sexual reproduction, remember there can be mutations and changes in the genes and diversity that allows the individual to survive in the environment. So that would be a benefit. That would be an advantage. A disadvantage is parent care of the offspring requires a lot of energy. So sometimes the parent is put in harm's way, protecting their young. Maybe they're going without food so that their babies can eat. It does require a lot of energy. Okay, so now what you're going to do is you're going to glue it into your notebook. If you would like, you can fold the top and the bottom down and then just glue it in. So it's a little bit nicer. You don't have to cut, you can just fold it down and glue it. So make sure you glue it. And again, if you're at home, you can definitely recreate this whole chart in your notebook without having to get the worksheets. Make sure you filled everything in.